Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Nika here at Leap Taken. I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So nobody's here yet, but I'm going to just keep going because I know people catch me on a replay. And yeah, I don't want to just be wasting your time just staring at you. Although I look cute today, don't I? Did a little lock jewelry, little something something, jazz things up a little bit, making noises when I walk. All right. Today's live is all about those moments when you ask yourself, was that a spirit? Or is that just really a weird dream? And y'all know what I mean. So like you wake up crying after seeing someone who's passed on. Um, That's a common one, or an interaction, but I'll get into that. You keep seeing signs that seem way too specific to be random, or you've had that eerie moment when something just feels different. Some people say off, or the air just feels different. Hopefully, y'all know what I'm talking about. Um, Today, we're going to talk about, and I have my notes here, what a real spirit encounter actually looks like. So, I'm going to go over that for those who have questions. Um, It's from my point of view. So if you if this doesn't resonate, it's okay. We're going to talk about how to tell it apart from a dream and what to do afterwards, which is key. Plus, we're going to do a fun game called Real or Just Dreaming. So go ahead and light your candles, light your incense, get your drink, and let's get comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and light my incense. So I have some sandalwood incense that I'm going to burn. We're going to get to it. So let's go ahead and light. I was like, please tell me I have a lighter here. I do. I do. All right. Am I not doing this right? No, I'm not. Let's light her up. Am I even putting this in a flame? Yeah, yeah. Here we go. So we got our incense going. And it's cute. We got the incense going. All right, I used this cute little thing. This was a gift. I asked for it. It was on my wish list, but it was a gift. Isn't this nice? And you collect the ashes at the bottom. So I've just kind of just been letting it go, and then I'll go and clean it later. But isn't this nice? I like it. So, okay, we're setting the mood. I'm setting the mood for me too. All right, so what counts as a spirit encounter? All right, spirit encounters are more common than people think. Realistically, a lot of people have these type of encounters, they just don't know it, but that's another conversation. We're going to keep pushing. For those of us who are aware, we're trying to be aware, they don't always come, it's not like in movies. Where it's like music and like haunted house energy. People are kind of, I realize, are expecting that, but I mean, it can be like that for some people. I personally have never had that experience. I guess I felt like what you would feel like if it was real life, what happened in a movie, but that's not what happened. It's just all like inside. That's my walk. Sometimes I've walked away feeling like, I really just went inside of a haunted house or something like that. But nevertheless, let's talk about the types of spirit encounters. I'm gonna take all this mystical, magical woo woo, and we're gonna make it digestible for the mundanes. Or if you're somebody who kind of thinks like me, you're overly practical minded, you kind of think like that, it's hard, like you can only handle so much woo woo, like it's got to start making some kind of sense for you. Let's talk. Types of spirit encounters, dream visitations, clearly the most popular. A lot of people experience it, even if they don't, they're a devout, whatever. They're not into witchcraft at all, or they're just not into really much of anything. Dream visitations happen. To me, that's the most common one of spirit encounter. So those are clear, vivid, emotionally intense dreams. Um, I'm gonna just go off my skirt for a second, and I'm gonna, because I realized I didn't make an emphasis on this. So we're gonna play the game to help kind of distinguish, but just know sometimes your dreams are really just you working through what you don't want to deal with in your waking hours, right? Um, was a spirit involved potentially, but sometimes, and I was talking about this topic, oddly enough, I knew I planned for the topic, but it came up in an earlier conversation I had with someone where I was telling them I remember the points in my life of feeling overwhelmed, finances, the marriage, being a mother, all at the same time. And I had this dream, and at the time it was me and my then partner. We were in a car, and it was filling up with water, and it was by a cemetery, a cemetery that used to kind of freak me out as a kid. And we're in a car, and the whole place is just filling up with water, and the water's in a car, and I'm freaking out, and that's the dream. It's a nightmare. I'm ah that dream was just me working through what I wasn't, because I wasn't really dealing with it. I was just sort of in it. All the feelings of being overwhelmed. I wasn't actually doing anything about it, I should say that. So could I say, oh, was this spirit was showing me? I mean, I guess I could say that. I think it's also fair to say that subconsciously, I was like not wanting to just kind of deal with some things, and I would kind of numb myself in other ways so I wouldn't have to deal with it. But in my dreams, it was coming out. I used to also would have this thing about vampires in my dream only when I felt threatened in my waking hours. So was that spirit talking to me, visiting me in my dream? I mean, I guess one could argue that, but I took it as in I was feeling threatened in my waking hours and I wasn't dealing with it. I didn't have, all right, let me phrase it. I didn't have the healthiest ways of dealing with that. So we're really talking spirit encounters here. I'm not just talking about any dream that you have. Dream visitations, it's more clear, it's vivid, and it can be emotionally intense, not necessarily a nightmare. All right, next thing on the list, physical sensations, cold air, light touch. I've had that. Sudden smells, that is my thing. I am that person. That's how I experience it mostly. Like you could smell perfume. For me, it was definitely perfume of the person who had passed on. Um, Roses. Some people's like floral scent, or some people smoke. Especially if they were a smoker, you just all of a sudden smell cigarettes in your home where you don't smoke. And if you don't live in like an apartment or condo situation, no one around you is smoking. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Caveat: there's two sets of people who might have to be concerned about this. When you start getting into my age, one of the perimenopausal symptoms is like a lot of people, women are complaining about like smelling smoke or just sees a smell that's not there. No one else smells it but them. The smelling of smoke. We have to be careful because we're just smelling smoke. And it's in my, like in the groups that I'm in for like talking to other women about perimenopausal support and like what they're using and all that sort of stuff. Y'all, that's a very common thing that's happening to us. Also, if you had COVID, a lot of people complained. Um, Once they were done and they got through it, they were left with this issue of just randomly smelling smoke. So, same thing I didn't say, but like ringing in the ears is another one, like physical sensations. Um, Girl, some of us just got, what is it? Tetanitis or whatever it's called. Some of us just fighting for our lives right now. We're going through some changes. I'm not saying it's not spiritual. I'm saying you might not be able to trust it anymore. You might just be in the perimenopause. You might be going through the change low key. So I'm just saying for real, like, just keep that in mind. Like, these are the facts of life. I'm very practical minded. I'm not going to come on here just telling y'all a bunch of nonsense. It's so funny to me when I see other people talking about this and they talk about like the ringing in the ears and all that. And I'm like, I know what that sounds like to me. I know, I hear you, but I know what that sounds like. Or like that clicking sound, girl, pull it together. And if you like, I don't know, everything felt off for a second, like off, and I'm like, or do you have vertigo? Like, how old are you? I don't. I'm not trying to take away from your spiritual encounters, your interactions that you believe that you're having, but I'm just trying to keep us all grounded. Next on the list, synchronicities. So here's the one a lot of people experience, like numbers, animals, names, or songs repeating. There's a message there. Those to me, usually in combination, you get the dream and you're getting like the number thing, or the songs or certain name keeps coming up. We're on to something. We're on to something. Messages received during meditation or right as you're waking up. The waking up thing, that is my kind of my thing. I know I have experienced things in meditation, but definitely just waking up, or just falling asleep, or in that weird in between where you kind of woke up, maybe you woke up a little early, you still a little sleepy, and you're trying to go lucid dreaming, you're trying to go back to sleep, you're there, you're not, you're in, you're out. Those, I'll just get like messages, like literally hear the message playing out. And it's hard because, like, is this a dream, is this really happening, am I tapping into something? It can get a little tricky with those too. And then here's the one I'm going to put it on here because I think this one definitely counts: apparitions. So, shadow figures, lights, or a feeling of a presence nearby. A feeling of a presence nearby. You feel it. I know that feeling. I know a lot of us do. I don't think that's all weird. I don't think we're all special, or people who could do that are special. I think that's something we all do. We see this happen in nature. Other animals can just sense it. Like, they didn't hear it, they sense something, and there's another sense involved, and they're like, "Yo, what?" You'll see them pause, like, "What was that?" And it's based on survival. Certain things I think come out because of survival. That's why Black Americans specifically, I'm sure other people got their thing, but I'm going to speak from what I know and what I've witnessed and what I know. When we hear a noise, let's say I'm on live, and I've probably done it. If I'm on live, if I hear a noise from another room, this is me. Everything stops until I can figure out what that noise is. I will get up. I got to go investigate. I got to know. I need to put my mind at ease and know what that noise is. That's a survival thing. Um, there's a reason we're like that without getting too deep into it. Oh, this lip gloss stop. Ah, sorry. Lip gloss was a little too much right here. Anyway, the point is, some of these spirit encounters might feel gentle, some kind of shake you up, but all of them ask you to sort of pay attention. Um, there are worse. I've had those too, but we're not going to get too much now. I don't want to freak anybody out. So let's do this interactive game. I only see about 2 people here. So if you watch this in a replay, also leave a comment. So I'm going to give you 4 scenarios. If you want to use emojis, you can use a ghost emoji for like a real spiritual spirit encounter, or you can use like a brain emoji if you think that's just a green dream or like subconscious stuff. So you could put spirit dream. So scenario 1: my grandmother showed up in my dream looking younger and glowing. She handed me bread, and I woke up smelling cinnamon. Do you think this is a spirit encounter or just a dream? I'll go to the next scenario. Scenario 2: I dreamed I was chased by a snake made of fire and I couldn't scream. Then I woke up in a sweat. Do you think this is a spirit encounter or a dream? Just a dream. Okay. Scenario number 3: a little girl stood at the foot of my bed every night for 3 nights. I was fully awake. Spirit encounter or dream? And this is the last scenario. This is scenario number 4. I dreamed a stranger handed me a pink key. I had no idea what it meant, but I saw a pink keychain in the shop the next day. Was this a spirit encounter or was this a dream? All right, so I'm going to tell you the answers or the reveal. I made these up, so I'm telling you what I think. First scenario about the grandmother looking young, glowing, handed you some bread, and you woke up smelling cinnamon. I would count that as a spirit encounter. I would say that was a real visitation, um, sensory, and some emotional stuff as well. That's scenario 1. I would tell you you had a visitation. Yeah, you woke up smelling cinnamon. Yeah, I would say that was a visitation. All right. Scenario number 2, when I said I dreamt I was chased by a snake made of fire and I couldn't scream, then I woke up in a sweat. It's a symbolic dream. Um, it's not necessarily a spirit encounter. I would maybe look into doing the symbolism of the fire, the smoke, all that sort of stuff. I would break down the symbolism in the dream. Um, a little girl at the foot of my bed every night for 3 nights. I was fully awake. I'm thinking that's a real spirit, possibly residual or maybe like earthbound energy. We're talking something different now. That's where that's where you trying to call up one of them shows and have the crew come out and they just hoot and holler and run around your house. That's that kind of that's a spirit encounter for real. um, the last scenario when I talked about a dream where a stranger handed me the pink key, I didn't know what it meant, and I saw a pink keychain in a shop the next day. That's I would count that as spirit or spirit guide using like symbols to communicate. So symbols again, symbolism, but to communicate with me, and I would just pay more attention to that message. Um, yeah, yeah. But you might have been surprised with some of that. You might have thought for sure that first one was just a dream with the grandmother. Oh, well, you admit you were dreaming, so it was just a dream. But within a dream, the spirit visited. I would have. That's what I would go with that. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I am kind of curious to know for those 4 encounters. Like, what would it be for you? How would you interpret it? Is it real or just dreaming? So let's talk about how to start telling the difference. Signs is a real spirit encounter. One, you wake up emotionally shaken or soothed. Like, pay attention to how you feel when you first wake up. I talk about emotions and feelings in witchcraft a lot because I don't think people talk enough about that. Your emotions kind of are intertwined. It matters. Even with we're humans. We're having a whole human experience as practitioners, as witches, as occultists, spiritualists, whatever. Um, those emotions are a thing. I wear a T-shirt that says "Your emotions are valid." I mean that. 2, you remember every detail with strange clarity. I listen, the dreams that I've had where I know it was definitely spiritual encounter or spirit encounters, I remember those dreams. I know what happened. I can remember them. It is with a strange clarity, especially somebody like me. That's why I have notes. I used to be able to do like this before, and I had a couple notes and I'll just look, but I've had to get a lot more detailed in my notes because it'll be right there and then I lose it. It's getting old, Joel. That's what happens. You know that saying, I forgot more than you could learn? I forgot more in my lifetime than some people will ever learn. That I understand why people say that. Like, that's why I'm big on writing things down. Um, putting in your book of shadows. Link is in the description, leaptaken.com. You can go to Amazon. I sell Book of Shadows for the Love Witch, for the Hearth Witch, and also a Hoodoo Grimoire. But write your stuff down. Okay, let's go to the next one. You get this is number 3. You get a message you didn't know before. And this is usually followed by something that you can verify, meaning that message is like you didn't know, and it's facts in the waking world. Um, or it might be something only you know. Maybe you can't talk to anybody about it, but you know it to be true. Like it's very much in the mundane world a fact, and you were given this message. It could be instructions, or it's just a message. You never know. Uh, and another thing I want to talk about that is you have to be open to the fact that sometimes spirit, if you're lucky enough to be someone who a spirit comes to, whether it's ancestor or not, but if a spirit comes to you with a message, you might think that's not that important. A lot of us, again, because we're influenced by books and movies and TV shows, media, um, and then people get on social media and they talk about these like elaborate stories of either a supposed living person or them, and it just seems like it's so much more grander. It seems like it's such a higher stakes situation. But sometimes the message is just, it was important to that spirit, and maybe you just need to deliver that message and not worry so much about the relevance or importance of it. Or if it was just for you and not for you to repeat to, let's say, another family member or solve some ongoing problem or issue, just receive the message. Just receive it, write it down, have enough respect to record the message. Sometimes it might take a moment for you to understand it, but don't second guess you so much that you just forget the message altogether. I've done that. I'm speaking from experience. All right, number 4, you experience physical sensations again with the smells, chills, or like a light or something, or maybe absence of. And another sign, the last sign that I just gave 5. It's a real spirit encounter. Is it lines up with like a ritual, maybe it's some sort of a moon phase or ancestor work. For me, working with Hecate for the first time, I did a Hecate ritual with my coven at the request of one of my coven members. And I said, okay, because we hadn't worked with any deities, and I really wasn't trying to be perfectly honest with you. So I wouldn't say begrudgingly. I mean, I was open. So I was like, you know what? I don't know, it felt right. It felt right to try it. And we all agreed. So we did the ritual. It was for Hecate's night. We did the ritual that same night. I met Hecate in that dream, and everything I hadn't done a lot of research per se. I did some because I helped write the ritual, so I did enough to get an overall understanding. But I left that ritual open, so we're kind of having having honor her, yes, but having our individual experience. My experience came in a dream. She comes to you, or in my experience, and several others, when you interact with Hecate, she comes to you as someone you know and trust, but there's always something off about that person in a dream where it's them, but not them. And there's something uncanny about it. You just can't quite put your finger on it. Like they smile a certain way, or let's say if they have long hair, it's even longer in a dream. If they're not very tall, they're tall. Something that's a giveaway that, hey, this is not that person. But I know I can trust that person. And she kind of comes through that way. So when doing the after the ritual that night, that's how I experienced her. And going forward in other dreams, she would continue to come back as that person. Wild. Just wild. That's been my experience. Um, if you have had something like that happen where within the, let's say, the dream, even lucid dreaming, if the you can't, it's like maybe it's not Hecate for you, maybe it's a spirit coming to you as again someone you trust that's alive now. I haven't had that experience of it being someone who's deceased. I believe when it's who's someone who's already passed on, it is their spirit talking to me. I don't think it's another like deity or something interacting, like using them as a avatar to get to me. At least that hasn't been my experience, but that's kind of tricky if that's the case. And you'd have to really do some work to figure that out because you're in a vulnerable state, you're in a dream world. So you'd have to analyze that when you wake up. But that I haven't heard about that, but let me know in the comments if you've experienced that, where basically a deity came through to you through someone you trusted and cared about, and they're passed on. I've not heard of that, but let me know. I could be wrong. All right, so those were the signs. It may be a real spirit encounter. So now I want to talk about, so you have the experience. What happens after that contact? So now what do you do? So grounding. So try this for a grounding ritual. You want to touch something physical, your mug, a plant, a crystal. I'm with the crystals with that. So you want to touch something, hold on to it. Just how they say go touch grass. You can do that too, but we'll get to that. Touch something. Say your name out loud. You can say something like, I am here, I am grounded, I am safe. Eat or drink something earthy. Um, I wouldn't go sugary. Get your, nothing caffeinated or anything like that. Think of, something, a whole food type thing, um, healthy. Y'all know what I mean. To each their own. Um, Water is always going to do the trick. Drink some water. Or a cup of tea, something like that, herby, that's earthy. Journal, write down what you experience. You think you'll remember. It's life changing. It maybe you thought you had an experience before, but this time you've had an experience and you feel like your life is going to be forever changed from this. The world just opened up to you in a way you never thought was possible. You're never going to forget it. Write it down. The intensity of it, you may not be able to remember exactly. And if you could just write that down or voice memo, title it so you know what it is, so that you will always have that and you can go back on it. Because sometimes, the human brain, our memories kind of trick us a little bit. And we're thinking it was like that. And you go back and read it. That's why I like scripting also, because one, it serves as like proof in a way for myself, always practical minded. But also, sometimes the way I thought I did, the way I remember is not exactly it. So I go to make sure, was that really how I remembered it? It helps. Ring a bell or clap to seal the energy. I like a good bell ring, or I'll just do a very clap. I'll clap. These are ways to sort of ground after the experience. This might be happening after you wake up. This might be happening after you, especially if you saw apparition or something like that. And apparition could be, again, like shadows, like at the corner of your eye. The first time he was like, you know what, it might just be my hair. I have long hair. I have my hair pulled back. So like, or I gotta be careful, I'm not looking at my glasses or something like that. Always practical minded me. So but there are times if okay, two things. One, you thought you saw something and you felt a presence. You felt that like a person, you thought somebody was here and somebody's not. Yeah, that's and by the way, you're not thinking about it. You're doing something, you're looking at something, you could be on your phone, whatever, but you felt that. No, you did feel that. That wasn't in your head. You felt it. Something's going on. Now, here's the thing. In my circle of people I talk to about this, some people are, at least the ones who are from up north, we're very direct. We're like, what you want? What's going on? We're asking the questions like, what's going on? Who are you? It's not a good time right now, type thing. Stopping a phone call. Anyway, yeah, we're like that. Like kind of like with a phone call, like I can't do this right now. Come back later. This ain't the time. This is me. Actually, I'll say that this ain't the time. I got stuff going on. Whatever it is, you're gonna have to wait. And this is me talking out loud with my hands. Y'all gonna have to wait. Like, if I'm about to go to sleep, this used to happen. I would hear all these sounds. I've been home all day. I ain't heard these sounds. All of a sudden, I'm hearing the TV making a weird noise. It's never makes this noise except for right now. It sounds like a walking set, like somebody's, the floor creaking. And I'm ready to go to sleep. I'm like, this. Listen, you got 5 minutes to make it plain. What do you want to tell me? If you don't tell me in the next 5 minutes, then you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. And I will in about listen, you got 5 minutes. If you didn't tell me, if you didn't let me know or do something, I'm going to sleep. Tell me in my dream then. This ain't the time. It's not a good time for me. Um, and other times I'm like, you got my attention. Go ahead and tell me. What do you want to communicate? You know, I'll even pull out my cards. Here, let's work. I'm meeting you where you are. Go on, tell me what you want to tell me. This is how I talk. And it works. It works. So to each their own, I know everybody's not like me. All right, so I just kind of want to go over before I wrap up. I want to go over a couple different things here um, about the signs. It's a real spirit encounter. So I'm kind of doing like a 5 list thing. So you wake up, well, man, you wake up emotionally shaken or soothed. You remember every detail with a weird, like strange clarity. You get a message you didn't know before. You experience physical sensations like smells or chills or something to do with the light or absence of. It lines up with a ritual, maybe, or moon phase or like ancestor work. These might be signs it's a real spirit encounter. Did you do something? Did you invite the energy in? Because you did something. You'd be surprised at the number of people who never make the correlation. Well, I'm always surprised. Maybe you won't be, but I am when I talk to people and I'm kind of helping them through that. And I'm like, how do you? I felt like you should have led with the fact that you participated in like a seance the night before and you didn't lead with that. And you just like, I don't know. What do you think this means? I think it means you invited the energy in and maybe we could start there. What happened in the seance? Just saying. Just saying. You in my side of it, people don't they're not always forthcoming. I don't know if they're testing me. I don't know, but I felt like that was important. Okay. And then the grounding ritual again, touch something physical, your mug, your favorite water jug, like me, a plant, a crystal, something, touch grass. Say your name out loud, speak your name out loud, and then say something like, I am here, I am grounded, I am safe. Especially if it was in an intense situation, you're going to want to do this. Eat or drink something earthy, journal what you experience, and make some noise, clap, ring a bell to kind of seal that energy. So today reminded us that spirit contact doesn't always come with something loud like thunder and all that. It often comes in the quiet moments. I used to call them like the whispers. I've definitely experienced that where it's just like something you never would have thought. It just sort of pops into your head like that message. So it can be dreams, it can be chills. It's a knowing, and that's that thing where I said something pops in my head. It's just this knowing. You're most intuitive. Or I should say, you're more intuitive than you realize. A lot of people are. Um, my experience has been to you have to learn to trust yourself. You have to learn to trust your intuition and believe your intuition, believe yourself, um, and trust your experiences as well. If you know it wasn't the eyelash out the corner of your eye, there was something there. Trust your experience. You don't have to run around trying to explain and prove anything to anybody. Now you're open. Okay. And also, I beg of you, please don't be afraid. Um, don't be afraid. And if you are afraid, learn to stop being afraid. If you need help with that, go to leaptaken.com. You can check out my mentorship programs. I'm going to be updating those soon, so I'll have some open slots. You can also have an Ask a Witch service there. That's perfect for that. We're going to do so much in an hour, so you might want to look into the mentor program. And I'm thinking of creating something separate that's a little shorter as well in the mentorship program. I'm still fleshing that out a little bit. For people who might not be able to commit to a 4 week or a 6 week program, because that's what those are, something a little more bite sized. Because some people just need that boost. They just need a little bit of a boost. They're already there. They just kind of need that other thing. And a lot of it is working through fear. So there's that. All right. So that's the video today. That's the live. Be sure to please like, share, and subscribe here to Leap Taken. If you love this video, if you like it here. My books of shadows are available at leaptaken.com, also available on Amazon, as well as the TikTok shop, but also again at leaptaken.com. I offer readings, including a subscription called a monthly moon reading. You can check that out as well. If you want to talk about spirits and dreams and spooky stories and all that sort of stuff with people who get you, join my Discord, which is called Leap Taken Safe Place for Witches. The link is in the description as well. I'm open for weird dreams and spooky talk and all that sort of stuff there. And going forward, every first Saturday, I'm going to be holding a virtual meetup. I held one and it was fun. It was a small group of us, but I'm hoping if I make this more of a regular thing, more people kind of come in and out, and we'll grow something over there. So until next time, sleep with some protection and try to dream with your purpose in mind, and keep your third eye open just a little bit. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye.